Hey there, welcome to the NBA DFS build. I'm Kevin Roberts, joined with Taylor Smith, getting ready to go over this main slate. NBA has been utter ass lately. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Sohan. Yesterday could have been awesome, but it wasn't. Thankfully, we did have some hits in Discord. We had some people win some cash. You can be one of those people too. Our core plays, honestly, Taylor stepped in and updated the core plays yesterday. Thank you for that, buddy. He did awesome. He can't predict Jeremy Sohan being absolute dog water. Other than that, the core plays were awesome. So take advantage of that. They're over on Patreon. If you want to just talk shop and share your lineup and stuff for free, you can do that in Discord. Everybody is there to help each other out for real. So if you want a little extra advice, if you're new and learning, that is a really, really good place to go. We also do MLB DFS videos. You can catch that on our YouTube channel, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if we do anything here that helps you out. All right, let's get into it. We go position by position, highlighting the best plays. Right now at point guard, SGA is leading the way with the 51-point fantasy projection. The downside is he is 11K. So he's facing the Bulls. That looks cool. The price is not great. And Jay Will is back. So they might be without some guys. Chet and Hartenstein are both questionable. We know Aaron Wiggins is out. I don't know, though. Are you comfortable paying 11K for SGA in the slate?
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's a good spot. Like, Chicago has been playing pretty well. Obviously, OKC is a huge favorite since they're a juggernaut, but good matchup. Chet could be out. Hartenstein could be out. Aaron Wiggins is out. You know, they do have some bodies potentially missing from the lineup. So highest total on the slate. I do think SGA is a really good play. There's always cheaper stuff at point guard. I am getting to the cheaper stuff as well. SGA is not my highest exposed 5-figure player. That would be Jason Tatum as of now, but still getting quite a bit of SGA early in the day.
Yeah, I don't mind getting to him based off of the matchup and the fact that OKC is going to be down some bodies, so that there could be a little bit extra usage there. And I mean, here's the thing though: if SGA is going to get there or sniff getting there, wouldn't Josh Giddey at $2,000 less also be getting there, assuming he doesn't out of nowhere tank like he did the other day? He only played 26 minutes with no foul trouble. I assume he wasn't healthy, because then he had to say that he was going to play in this game. I don't know. At 9.3K, I feel like he is a better play by comparison. What are your thoughts on Giddey tonight?
Giddey's okay. It's just the nut worst matchup for Giddey or anyone against OKC, and they're huge underdogs on the road. I just think I would much rather target SGA as the favorite. You can always play Giddey. Obviously, his ceiling is nuclear, and he's been in awesome form for the most part. But on this slate, at that price, with enough else to pay for, not super excited about Giddey, honestly.
Yeah, I understand the matchup perspective, but like he's really based off of who he's been, who he's shown he can be, and the fact that they have no depth at guard at this point, like healthy depth. All their guys are out. No Kevin Huerter, no Trey Jones, no Ayo Dosunmu, no Lonzo Ball. Like he's doing all the heavy lifting and just has a really nice usage rate. So matchup aside, like I think Giddey looks awesome, especially if recency bias and people looking at the matchup is going to scare them off, and his ownership is going to dip here. He looks really good. It's just kind of like it's a catch-22 because on one hand, SGA has the best matchup on the board, and he should definitely get there. And I think his projection even feels a little bit light, all things considered. But if he is going to get there, then it's likely the game stays close, which would probably mean Giddey is also hitting the ceiling. So if you compare the pricing, to me, I think I'm going Giddey, especially if the ownership is going to stay in check. Another reason why it might stay in check is because Tyler Hero and Tyrese Halliburton are a little bit cheaper, are in way better spots, and project about as well. Right now, Hallie is the chalk point guard of the slate as far as spend ups. How are you feeling about him at 8.6?
Yeah, I like him a good amount. He's always kind of underpriced looking, 8,600. He's been in really good form. Revenge game against the Kings, even though it's not true revenge, and he's been in Indiana for years now, but good spot, good game environment. I like both teams in this one. Sabonis is also one of my favorite plays on the slate in a reverse revenge game. True revenge for him.
Revenge game.
So I like them both quite a bit. I think pairing them is pretty fun on this slate. If you think the game can stay close, it should be high scoring. If you want to fade SGA and instead prioritize paying up for those two together, I have no issue with that. So yeah, he looks really good to me as well.
Yeah, Helly, none of the vengeful the first time around, only like 33 fantasy points. But that was 30 minutes, so without looking, I assume that game was a blowout.
He's also he was terrible like for the
Yeah, he
first
was.
3
Yeah,
months of
you're
the
right.
season, so he's
It's
kind of
true.
bounced back a little bit.
He must have been hurt or something because he just was
Yeah.
not. He was not himself. Like there, like a year ago, he was like 10K all the time, and then all
Yeah,
of a
and he
sudden
was
he was like,
amazing.
I know, and then all of a sudden he was like 7-8, like half the time. Like
Uh-huh.
what? So yeah, I agree. Helly looks good. I think if we want to just like save cash and get a really nice guy and not worry about ownership, Halliburton is clearly the play, and Hero is a good pivot off of him and a good downgrade from Giddey. I really think Giddey is just more of a tournament play at this point. Like Giddey is just like a really interesting tournament play as like leverage on like SGA possibly. But if you're looking just for like cash game plays or you're looking for just rock solid plays, it starts with Halliburton and Hero for sure. Hero against the Wizards. He hasn't really done that much against them on the year, and honestly, it's been a spot where mostly big men thrive. So I would probably definitely look to Bam and maybe Khalil Ware before I look to Hero. But Hero does look good here, especially if Hallie at a similar price is going to carry a lot of the ownership. You could leverage that. Not super into Harden against the Magic on the road. That just doesn't look good to me. The price and projection do not align. Same with John Morant. Boston's not a fun matchup. They might be without Jaylen Brown, which impacts their defense for sure. But still, for GPPs, you can play Harden and Ja for sure, but they just don't project as really, really good plays here. Derek White, if Jalen's out, is okay. I don't mind him. The price is still a little bit steep. We talked about this before. Like, I would need another Boston guy to be out to get excited about Derek White right there. The first guy that stands out after we get past the first 4 players is going to be KJ Simpson. Is he an elite talent? No. But there's no LaMelo Ball. They're facing the Jazz. He's only 4.9K. I'm okay cementing him as one of my top value plays of the slate.
Yeah, I have a ton of KJ Simpson as of now, which feels fucking horrible to me, but he's 4,900. Yeah. LaMelo out for the season. They're playing Utah. So it's a game both teams want to lose, which is kind of a weird thing to target, but he's a good player.
If you want to lose,
should be there. Yeah.
You play KJ Simpson.
I think Isaiah Collier in the same range is also a really good play on the other side of that game.
Agreed.
This is just I feel like all the tanking teams are like playing each other every day now. Like we had the Raptors last night against the Sixers or somebody. There's like that.
A lot of tanking teams out there.
Obviously. New Orleans against Charlotte. So
do they realize that only one team can get Cooper Flag? Do they know this? I don't think they know.
The 3 worst teams all get the same number 1 pick odds. So I guess they all do have incentive to.
Yeah, but there's teams like the Raptors who have no chance. What are they doing?
Well, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain.
I know.
I do think Harden's kind of a good play. Like Orlando against lead guards is not very imposing defensively with Jalen Suggs out. So if you wanted to play anyone on the Clippers side, it would be Harden for me. Just a low-owned tournament play, really, on this slate. Simpson's great. Collier's great. Keontae George for a little bit more. Collier looks really good too in that first game. The Wizard stuff, never get too excited about Bub Carrington or AJ Johnson, but the minute would be pretty secure for Johnson if he starts. So it's okay to kind of pivot away from KJ if Simpson's going to be more owned.
42 minutes?
Or he's going to play a lot of minutes if he starts, but if he doesn't, he might not. So keep an eye on that. Wouldn't play Johnson if he's off the bench, but if he starts, he does look pretty good.
Yeah. If you think he's gonna actually play minutes, the Wizards have been annoying with the run they've given their young guys. So honestly, I will not play any Wizard unless they start, and even then, I don't feel amazing about it. They are not stretching out Jordan Poole. Alexander Sarr only played 24 minutes his last game. I can't trust them at all. I would trust to a certain degree guys like Jalen Martin or AJ Johnson if they start. So I'm with you there. Doesn't feel good though. And I think there are enough other values that we don't have to do that. I like the Keontae George Collier thing. I think Collier obviously looks like the better point per dollar play. He's cheaper at 5.3, but I think Keontae is a pretty interesting tournament leverage play. Collier's coming in with 23% ownership. If you just ask me straight up Collier versus Keontae, I'd probably say Collier because he saves you money and he's an equal play, really. But for tourneys, I think Keontae is the better play. Going down here, D'Lo being back takes Keon Johnson probably out of the equation, but worth noting that Cam Johnson's also out now. So maybe Keon's still okay at 5.5. Tough to trust the Nets. Like you said, they're another tanking team as well. Kason Wallace is somewhat appealing at 4.5. if OKC is down some of their other guys. If Hartenstein and Chet are out, you're just going to get like low usage guys coming into the lineup to replace them. Like Hartenstein isn't really high usage anyways, but I just think that because Kayson starts, it's going to be more Kayson and SGA then, and Kayson coming in with almost 30 minutes here, he'd look pretty viable, I think. I guess with Cole Anthony doubtful once again, you could entertain Anthony Black, but I don't think it's super necessary, and I don't feel amazing about it because the Clippers are not a fun matchup. Anybody else to see here at point guard?
Nick Smith, maybe, just because there's usage to go around for Charlotte, but not very thrilling.
Yeah, I'm okay with Nick Smith. I mean, there's no LaMelo. Well, Mark Williams is back, I guess, but I think he's a fair play, and you can use him at shooting guard too. So, but he did just hit in his last game. So if we know anything about Nick Smith, that means he is not going to hit today. But he's in play. I wouldn't mind.
Kobe is out, so like that's one more body that was there last night that is not there tonight.
That's true. Yeah, he did play 35 minutes last night too. So the run is going to be there, and it is Utah, so I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. At shooting guard, Franz Wagner leads the way. This position is garbage. 40-point fantasy projection. Not a good spot against the Clippers. Not excited to pay for him. Not excited to pay for Bane against Boston with Ja back. Kobe White against OKC. Not owned. He's going to have high usage, just like Giddey. So if you're scared of playing Giddey, but you want some exposure, like a run back there, I think he's okay for tourneys. The Bulls are not really cash games unless you're looking at value here. If Jaylen Brown is in at 8-2 against Memphis in a high tempo spot, I don't hate him at 8-2. I think he's an okay play. But otherwise, I'm going probably value here, trying to drop down a little bit. Obviously, the guy you just mentioned, Nick Smith, is going to be in play. AJ Johnson at 4.8, you already mentioned. So this really isn't like a spot where like the value is amazing, but it's also not a spot that I feel compelled to pay up at.
Yeah, like I kind of getting to mostly Keontae George again. Aaron Nesmith is cheap, so that's okay enough. AJ Johnson, Nembhard, Colin Sexton, he's in. Nick Smith, like I think Franz Wagner's okay because he's Franz Wagner. Like he has a ceiling on occasion, 8,700 guard forward. I don't hate it. Matchup's bad. That game was bad in general, but it has a close spread. It could shoot out. You never know. It's two good teams going against each other, so I don't mind it. But yeah, otherwise it's kind of just going cheap. We haven't even gotten a Dalen Terry yet, but you should sell us on Dalen Terry.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, first of all, before I get to Dalen Terry, I was going to probably.
It's better off if you don't sell us on.
No, I'm going to. You better wait and see. I'm going to. He's small forward eligible, so let's kick it. Let's wait till we get over there. But before we do, this is actually why and where I would use Keontae George for leverage on Collier. There are a lot of good point guard plays, whether you're spending up or going down to like Simpson. But shooting guard's not good. So I would rather go 6-2 or whatever it is for Keontae, who's not going to be owned, despite being like dollar for dollar one of the best shooting guard plays on the slate. And then you're kind of getting away from a chalky point guard that you don't really have to play because you're getting a comparable play. And the only real issue is the price gap, but that's not a problem for me. So having said that, we'll kick it over to small forward. I'll start it with Dalen Terry because he is a good value. Does Dalen Terry feel great to me? No, because the other day we played him and he got 4 fantasy points. But Dalen Terry has been playing monster minutes for who he is. He's been playing high 20s, and there's no reason for him to not play high 20s again because the Bulls are without Kevin Huerter. They're without Ayo Dosunmu. They're without Lonzo Ball. And I think I'm missing somebody else that they're not going to have. Trey Jones. So, like, they need to play some of the guys. You could certainly argue for somebody else getting some of those minutes. Who else does Chicago have? Javon Carter still on hand, probably. Taylor Horton-Tucker. So, like, if those guys have a clearer path to minutes, they're in play at 3K flat. But right now, the guy who's been getting the run is Dalen Terry, so I think he's in play. How are you feeling about him? It doesn't sound like you're feeling great.
It's hard to feel great, especially against Oklahoma City. But yeah, like it's a good play overall. He's cheap. The minutes are there, guard forward. You know, that's all really there is to it. Hopefully something better comes out later in the day that means we don't have to play him. But yeah, I don't have an issue with it just because otherwise you're looking at like Sensabaugh or Haywood Highsmith, which are also not good plays, good permanent players rather. So yeah, it's kind of grim once you get past Tatum at the high end. Not really in Kawhi on a back-to-back. DeRozan's overpriced. Levine's overpriced. Jaylen Brown, okay, I guess, but kind of a shit position again at small forward.
Did Kawhi play yesterday?
No.
Okay, well,
There's a rest on the back-to-back.
Yeah, so I'm not really that concerned there. I would be more worried about at the Magic, slow pace environment, low total, 8.9K. Rest of the Clippers are healthy. Like, I'm with you. I don't want to play Kawhi. I think Tatum looks awesome. If Jaylen Brown is in, I'm a little bit less interested in Tatum because there are other spends on the slate. But if Jaylen's out, Tatum is a smash. He looks great. Memphis, really good spot for DFS. So he's the best play here for sure up top. Like, I don't have a ton of interest in Wagner or Kawhi. Not super into Kobe, not into DeMar. Jay Will's okay. I guess if Chet and Hartenstein are out, we could warm up to Jay Will a little bit more. He would look pretty good then, but he seems to be limited still, so not super excited about that. That said, the Bulls are like the dream spot. Like, if you want to take a chance on Jay Will at 8.4K, it looks like Taylor dipped out. Maybe he'll come back. We don't know. So I'll just keep going. Jay Will at 8.4K. I don't mind taking a shot in tourneys. Like, he projects pretty well. 36-point fantasy projection for just 29 minutes. Like, I think that's okay in tournaments. Going down here, I'm not going to pay 8.1K for PJ Washington. Okay, he's out. So I'll finish up here. Let's see how close is that out so I don't get any more alerts. Yeah, so PJ Washington, not going to do that 8.1K because Anthony Davis is back. Daniel Gafford actually is probable to return as well. So I'm out on PJ. Like, PJ is probably still going to start. It's an okay matchup. He's going to get usage, but not doing it at that price. Jalen Martin, kind of in the same vein as AJ Johnson. If he is going to start and get minutes at 4.1K, we can do that. Even off the bench, you can risk it with these guys. But like I said, like the other day, 2 times actually now, Vukovic played off the bench. Really good per minute guy. You want to play him, but you just can't do it really with any confidence. So similar situation with Jalen Martin and AJ Johnson if they don't start. I probably wouldn't play them unless they do. Can't play Najee at 7-3 with Mavs getting bodies back. That's a big no-no. Champagny has been starting. The matchup with the Miami is not good. The price has come up a little bit. Did play 33 minutes 2 games ago, but look at all these other games where he's just not getting max minutes, and he does have a low floor, so I don't think I really want to do it. If you're in a pinch at small forward or power forward, and you just have 5K and you're not really sure what to do, you can play him there. At power forward, I think I'd look at Matas Bazelis instead. And then there's Zaire Williams at 4.8 that you can consider as a pivot, and even Dort at 5K too. So I hope you don't get in a situation where you feel like you have to play Champagny, because I don't love him here. Pelle Larsson, I was wrong about him the other day. He got to start. Somebody came to me in Discord and was like, should I play Pelle Larsson? I said no. And you know why I said no? Is because he is a low usage player. He's not necessarily that good. And a lot of other times he has started and he doesn't really get full runs. So if he gets to start again at 4K, you could certainly entertain it. And the big reason why is because there is no Andrew Wiggins. There is no Duncan Robinson. Jovic is out, and Alec Burks is also still on the injury report. So if those guys are all out again and Larson starts, you can play him. But is Pelle Larsson going to hit 2 games in a row, 40 fantasy points? That is insane. Probably not. So I don't feel great about it. But if he starts against the Wizards, he's in play. OKC value, like I said before, Isaiah Joe, 4.1K. They do have like Caruso back, but with no Aaron Wiggins, he's still going to get a little bit of run. Plus, there's major blowout risk against the Bulls. So I do not hate taking shots on some OKC punts if you want to do that. At power forward, Tatum's still there up top. Love Tatum. I think he's in play and totally fine if Jalen's in. He's a smash play if Jalen's out. Anthony Davis, I'm actually not that against playing. His minutes limit is about 30 to 32 probably. Eventually that's going to be lifted, but right now I still think he's probably going to be a little bit limited, and they do have bodies coming back. So I'm kind of teetering on this one because the Nets are a good matchup. He's sub 10K. He does project well, and I don't think he's going to be very owned. So if we are confident that he is a very much GPP hammer play, I do not mind playing him at 30 minutes here and hoping he just nukes in his time out there. He is fully capable of doing that. So he is a very interesting tournament play. Not a core play whatsoever because of the minutes limit, and there's also blowout risk. Mavs are 9-point favorites at home, but he looks like a really, really interesting tourney play. Same price, Banchero against the Clippers, same projection. I mean, Banchero keeps showing a ceiling, man. So like if you want to play Banchero even in a tough spot, you can do that. He's not been blowing us away at this price point lately. Like he's just been fine for the price. Like for almost 10K, you need to be approaching high 50s and 60 on a regular basis. So I think he's an okay play. This just is not the spot I want to play him. The play of the position, though, at power forward is easily Bam Adebayo, 8.6K against the Wizards. Bam is, he can be a beast. And on the season against the Wizards, he has certainly beasted out 55 fantasy points per game across 2 meetings. So there's nothing to hate there. The projection looks good. The price is totally palatable, 8.6K for this spot. I like it quite a bit. As far as usage is concerned, you could pivot away from Bam because he is probably going to be owned. And then there is Miles Bridges, who's going to have a lot of usage with no LaMelo Ball there against the Jazz. Just as good of a matchup, just as good of a projection, similar price point, and Miles is probably going to be at best half his owned. So I like him a lot. I think he could greatly exceed that projection and be an awesome tournament play tonight. Because of Bam and Miles being there, I have no interest in Kawhi. Siakam is in theory a good value against the Kings, 7.6K, but I feel like anytime his price comes down, he just disappoints and he doesn't really do anything until he gets look at this. This is floor material, and we're going to have a value on the Pacers that I like a lot more anyways. I don't really want to pair them together. You can play Siakam. The price is not bad. The projection is not bad. The matchup's not bad. I just don't really feel compelled to play him. Kyle Filipowski, I do like him a lot. No Walker Kessler, no Lauri Markkanen, no John Collins. They are just full tanking this game and tanking the season. So Filipowski has been getting really big minutes. He's been very productive. These last couple of games, 33, 34 minutes, 39, 40 fantasy points. And the matchup here with the Charlotte is as good as it gets. So I really like Filipowski. The question is, are you going to want to play him with, I think it's Oscar Tshiebwe? Are you going to want to pair them together? That's the question. He is cheap enough and projects well enough to do that. But what are the odds of them both smashing, on the same day? I don't know. It's a tough sell. But if you want to play just one and you just want a rock solid play that is probably pretty safe, like Filipowski is the safer play for sure, but Oscar does project really well for his price tag. We'll talk about him in a little bit. JJJ is 7.9, GPP only with Ja back. Trenton Watford 5.4. His price came up like $1,000. Nick Claxton is back, but there is no Noah Clowney and there is no Day'Ron Sharpe. So he's going to have a path to minutes. I don't hate him because he's power forward eligible. I just think there's better values to be had. And we can also pay up, like I said, a lot of other plays to pay up at. Buzelis for $600 cheaper is just a better play. Not a good spot against OKC whatsoever, but Thunder's defense, it's more perimeter based. We might not have Chet or Hartenstein there. It might be an easier path for Buzelis to produce, whereas Giddey and Kobe White are probably going to get the brunt of that defense up front. And I think going big with kind of like the ancillary pieces for the Bulls might be a good way to look at this slate as far as getting exposure to that game. Haywood Highsmith, based off of minutes, if those guys are out for Miami, you can play him. Small forward, power forward eligible, I like that. 3.9K, I like that. And the minutes are good. Does he have a super low floor? Absolutely. Do I feel good about it? No. But because of the minutes and the matchup, you can play Haywood Highsmith. Patrick Williams also, he's probably going to get good minutes here. Not projecting for a ton of minutes, but the matchup is terrible. Look at this. God, he has a low floor. I'm not even gonna suggest Patrick Williams. All I'll say is he's 3.7K and the Bulls are undermanned right now. So if he has a path to minutes, there's that, and there's that alone. That's probably going to do it. I think Kyle Anderson did not get a lot of run last game. 20 minutes because Kyle Larson had the game of his life. If all those guys are still out, I think Kyle Anderson's an okay value against the Wizards at 3.4K. Just risky. Tracy Walker at 3.6K. He is going to probably get a little bit of extra burn with Miles Turner out. Same with Obi Toppin. Where's Obi? Didn't see it, Obi. Yeah, there he is. It could be an Obi Toppin day. Usually when this happens, when Miles Turner goes out, we just look at Thomas Bryant, but Obi Toppin's going to get a little bit more burn off the bench, and we know he's an explosive scorer. So 4.2K for tourneys, I don't hate it. All right, over to center to wrap things up for us here. We'll get it under 30 minutes for sure. I already talked about Anthony Davis. I love Sabonis. Sabonis is a clear pivot away from Anthony Davis and a pay up over Bam, who's going to be chalky. Bam's just the best. He's the better point per dollar play. He just is. So, but the nice thing is you can put him at power forward and you can place Sabonis instead of Davis or Tatum and just get a better value at 9.2. You have the true revenge, and the Pacers have nobody that can stop him. So he could honestly just eat Thomas Bryant alive. I mentioned Oscar Tshiebwe here at 4K flat against the Hornets. Mark Williams cannot stop a nosebleed. Projects extremely well for the price. If he can push for 30 minutes, he's going to smash. I think you can pair him and Kyle Filipowski. I just think for the most part, I would try not to do that. I would commit to one of them. Right now, I'm committing to Oscar based off of price. Kyle looks good, but 6.5K for a Jazz guy when they're tanking, it just feels like a little bit much. I think on FanDuel, he's only 6K, so that I like him a lot better over there. You can still pair them if you want, and you can still play Kyle Filipowski on his own if you want. He projects really well. Khalil Ware against the Wizards. The minutes are kind of wonky for him, but the price is still good at 6-1, and the matchup with the Wizards is awesome. So I don't fault you at all if you have interest in Khalil Ware. Obviously, depending where the ownership is. Like if Khalil Ware is going to be chalky at 6-1, then Filipowski starts heating up as an interesting leverage play on him. Nice pivot away from there, and vice versa. Really, you could make that argument too. Thomas Bryant, though, has turned into the play at the center position. And it seems like it's very possible the chalky build is going to be pairing Bryant and Oscar Tshiebwe. If that's the case, maybe consider going away from that. Maybe you play Thomas Bryant and then go get Sabonis. Maybe you play Oscar and go get Anthony Davis, like switch it up a little bit. You could certainly make a rule in your optimizer to not pair Thomas Bryant and Tshiebwe in a certain amount of lineups. That would probably be a good idea. But, all things considered, they look great. Usually when I put out core plays, I don't want to give you two centers just because that locks your lineup, and then you have to build around two centers, and then you're just stuck. And then what if one of those guys tank in the name of Jeremy Sohan? We don't want to do that, right? So I would probably just end up picking one of them. And right now my lean is naturally going to be Thomas Bryant. Nobody else really stands out. Mark Williams is back, so we're not looking at Nurkic. Drew Timme, I guess, is the last guy I'll mention. 4K, Drew Timme. He is not really a safe play because Nick Claxton is back, and there is still Watford there too, but there is no Daron Sharp, and there is no Noah Clowney. So Timmy is going to get minutes, and he's been super productive when he's out there. 24, 28 minutes. It seems like they want to give him a little bit of an extended look, and I don't see why they wouldn't want to. So if we can trust that that's going to happen, we can roll him out, especially since there are clear value plays in Oscar and Bryant that everybody's going to want to play. So Timmy, it just is a way higher risk play, not really necessary for sure. Like he doesn't have to be on your radar at all, but because of that, he is an interesting tourney value as a pivot away from those guys. All right, that is going to do it for the position by position breakdown. I'm going to refresh the Twitter to underdog timeline real quick to see if anything else pops up before I end this thing. Let's see, nothing crazy so far. So the big thing to watch for is going to be the Jaylen Brown news. I don't think anything else is massive except for the OKC guys. So if like Chet and Hartenstein are out, that 14-point spread isn't such a lock, right? So suddenly the Bulls OKC game is a little bit more stackable. If Jaylen is out, suddenly Tatum, Porzingis, and all these other Boston guys look a lot better. So those are some things to keep in mind for sure. If you need help formulating your lineups, we will help you by building out some core plays leading into lock. You can get those at Patreon right now for a reasonable rate for the entire month. If you are more into MLB at this point, that is awesome because so are we. You can head over to our YouTube channel to catch our MLB DFS breakdown for today, and you can also access our picks and stacks over on Patreon. Of course, all this stuff can still be discussed, and you can be helped over in our free Discord if you're looking for a community to help you learn, help you grow, or just want to talk shop and have some fun hanging out with like-minded individuals. It is a great place to do so. All right, that is going to do it for me. Please hit that like button if I helped you out in any way here, and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on all the future videos that we do across all the other DFS sports. Thanks for watching, and good luck.